I'm Dylan, and this is the Blind-Sighted Perspective Podcast, where blind and sighted perspectives are given on a number of topics, with my friend Jared as a co-host in a casual style. My life since I went blind at 22, I will tell you about it. Welcome back to the Blind-Sighted Perspective Podcast. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Jared.
And this is episode 14. What the heck was that?
It's a drum roll. Go ahead, though.
But anyways, I don't think we have anything to really announce, so we will just get right into it. So, the Blind-Sighted Stories, which is a story where it could be blind related, it could be sighted related, it could be a story about, like, with just me, Jared, or both. So, Jared, what is our blind-sighted story?
So, before I begin the story, we hope the audience is doing very well. And I want to ask you, before we continue with this, Dylan.
Yes?
How are you today?
I am doing very good. Same as last time.
Me too. But we hope the audience is
I really do
well.
hope everyone's having a good day. And if you're not, hopefully things lift your spirits.
Like this video. So, today's story, Dylan, do you remember our friend Jerry?
No.
Oh, well, he was...
I do, yeah.
He had dark hair, kind of taller. Do you remember the time that Jerry was giving you a ride to my house in, where I live? Yeah,
basically, I don't exactly remember. I think we were at my house. That was the meetup spot, and we were actually, me and Jerry and Jared were going to Jared's house, which he lived in the middle of nowhere. I'm just going to say that, in the middle of freaking nowhere. So the drive actually took a little bit, even from my house, and I lived almost in the country.
So here's the funny thing behind the story. Really, the funniest part.
This might be a quick story.
This story may be quick. It may be long.
Jared, back in the day, I actually rode with Jerry at this time. I think, do you remember Jerry's car?
It was a Geo Tracker.
Yeah, it was, yeah, like a Jeep. A Jeep kind of car. But, and what was your car?
Geo Prism.
Okay, well, and we were basically driving there. Now, like I said, I was in Jerry's car, and Jared was in front of us because I don't think Jerry knew the way yet, or did he at the time?
He did not.
So we had to follow Jared to show us the way to the middle of nowhere, and we're literally sitting behind Jared going inches because Jared was the slowest driver ever, and me and Jerry were just sitting back there behind him, making fun of him, calling him a turtle and everything else, and he was just so slow. So any comment on this, Jared?
Yes, it was a little. There's a little more to that too. So before we had left, Jerry had mentioned to me, but I just spaced it, he's low on gas. He just wants to go straight there.
Right.
So, when I'm in my Geo Prism, I decide to take the back roads, and I decide to mess with Dylan and Jerry. Now, this is at night. I take back roads. No one's on the back roads, so I was messing around on the road, like he said, going slow, but I was swerving side to side and, just joking around, doing little brake checks, but they weren't close enough. They would have, just messing around.
Right.
And I guess Dylan was telling me they were making fun of me, but Jerry was getting so upset. He's like, I told this guy I don't have gas. Why is he doing this? And that was probably the funniest part of the story. But just imagining if you guys knew who Jerry was and would see him say this stuff and get upset like that, you would be cracking.
You
have to know him.
Jerry can get mad pretty easily.
And the thing is, though, I can just see the way he gets mad can be funny.
Yeah.
Now, it can be serious, but it can also have a funny side to it.
And also, Jared, like, I don't know if he's like this completely now. He kind of is still, but he used to like to mess with people a lot.
Yeah,
a lot, and that probably sucked for Jerry.
Not a lot anymore because it's been biting me in the rear.
Yeah. I mean, because you did it to me a lot.
So
and to Jerry, I'm sure, a good
just
bit.
think,
but
here I am in my car driving to my house, going side to side, looking in the review, looking at them, giggling. Oh, this is so fun. And the thing is, the whole time so you go to the geo tracker scene with Jerry and Dylan in it, and they're like, "What the heck? What's going on?" And then you go back to me.
So you were doing it on purpose.
Yes, I was.
We
because
thought
I was trying to mess with you. Now,
okay.
No, not necessarily mess with you guys. I was just trying to have fun and make you guys question what the heck
okay.
I was
So
doing.
this is wow. You've been sitting on this for 6 years, I think.
Oh man, it was so funny.
So
then
the truth comes out.
Well, when we got to the house, I get out of my car and I'm like, giggling and that was what a ride. And then so Jerry gets out. He's like, dude, what were you doing?
I don't remember that point. That like time is really fuzzy, kind of. But
it was just a funny. I didn't mean to upset him.
Right.
But looking back at it, it was just a funny experience.
Jerry got upset pretty easily.
I know.
So
here's a bonus for that night. Okay.
Are you about to talk about
the magic trick?
The magic trick.
Yes,
we could save that for a different story.
This one's kind of short, and that one would be kind of short. So
okay, fine.
We'll mash them up.
Okay.
So that same night, me, Dylan, and Jerry, we were gonna have a couple beers.
No, we weren't.
We were going to, but it didn't end up happening.
We didn't.
So
we were good boys and followed the law, Jared.
That's right. Don't drink if you're underage.
No.
And so I've been working on this magic trick for I can't remember what it was for.
Yeah, well, you had a magic kit,
right?
Actually,
but I was working on this specific trick for a reason. I just can't remember what it was. Probably like show my mom or something. No, I'm kidding. But there's this trick I did. It's the balls and cups trick. I'm sure most people know about it.
Yeah, I believe the ball was like a red ball.
Yeah,
and it was like made of cotton or something.
I don't know but it was 4 red balls. But to do the trick, you have to have the people believe you only have 3 red balls and 3 silver cups. So I did it in front of Jerry and Dylan was laughing about it. He's like, "Oh, I don't know how you do it," just kind of blowing it off. But Jerry was getting so upset he couldn't figure out how I was doing it.
Yeah, this one I remember a little bit better. Because I remember him getting actually upset. He was getting irritated.
Dylan's like, "It's not that big of a deal."
He's like, how are you doing this? Getting mad at Jared. I'm like, man, he's about to freaking beat you up. He's about to beat you up if you don't tell him how to do it.
And the thing is, I can honestly say at this point, we really didn't drink. It's just how Jerry was.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I couldn't quit laughing just because I had that about me.
And I noticed he started to get mad, so I got a little worried. I was like, because I hadn't really Jared had experienced Jerry being more than I have seen him mad.
More upset instead.
More upset. I had rarely seen him like really upset or getting really like paranoid. I'd seen it a little bit, but not as much as Jared. So I started like getting worried because I'm like, oh God, Jared, he's getting mad. Stop.
Yeah, so I couldn't quit. I just couldn't quit laughing. I was trying to talk and I couldn't because I really had.
Oh yeah, you were.
I was a handful, man.
You were having fun.
And so then he's like, he got to the point. He's like, dude, he's like, this isn't funny. He's like, how do you do that trick? At first he could tell he was a little irritated because he didn't know. And he's like, how do you do that? And I started laughing. I'm like, magic. I kept playing it off like a smarty. And then I think because of how I kept playing it off, that's what kind of got him to that point.
Maybe.
But eventually, I'm like, okay, man, whatever. I'll show you how to do it. Goodness.
You did show him, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, then yeah, you're right. So I showed him how to do it after all the these minutes of arguing. And as soon as I show him, it's like, oh, okay. So you guys want to do this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh shoot.
Like people say that I'm like really overly serious about things, and certain things I am, but like if it's so like minor, I know I'm like, all right, whatever. But man, that was very interesting. Yeah. Oh, yeah, good old Jerry.
That was the story we had.
Maybe one day, if the stars align and the planets align, we'll get him on the podcast episode.
Yeah.
Somebody will probably be sharing a mic, but that's okay.
That would be Dylan.
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. I don't care.
But anyways, yeah, with that has been the blindsided story. And next will be the the blind hat pull, which is we pull paper out of a hat, and whichever number it corresponds, that's the topics we talk about.
All right, Dylan.
So what is the first number?
I'm still randomizing it. All right, so coincidentally,
by the way, people, the best way to deal with Jared is not give him a reaction at all. That's the thing I've learned.
It's hard not to sometimes.
That's the thing I've learned over 10 years, because that's why he does all the stuff he does, is to try to get a reaction. You don't give him what he wants, and then he stops.
He's right about that.
Chelsea needs to learn that.
I know.
Does she not know that?
Oh no, she knows, and she does. She's learned after 5 years.
Yeah. How long you guys been together? 5 years.
5 years.
5 years. Has it been for really 5 years?
Yes. Yeah, it has.
I think me and Sarah have been together like over 5.5.
But that's how I feed, Dylan. I'm like an annoying vampire that sucks on annoyed reactions.
Oh, all right.
So
you haven't changed in 10 years.
I have gotten better at it, though. I can't say that. But the number, coincidentally, that I picked is 34.
Okay.
We're going around this 33 like in last episode.
All righty.
Okay. Dylan, I put, how do you like your food cooked? So I assume that means meat.
This is a weird question.
This is a weird question. I can't remember what we were...
But all right, I'm just going to assume maybe
let's
it's
start
meat.
with the noodles. Do you like your
there's
noodles?
ways to cook different things. Okay, noodles?
True. So, yeah. How do you like your noodles cooked?
I mean, but just boiled.
Boiled, but do you like them... So we were actually talking about this at work, ironically. There are some people that like their noodles a little more on the harder side. Like, not so...
Yeah, I know. Like, not...
Squishy?
I know what you mean.
And there's some who like it more squishy.
I mean...
How do you prefer them?
I guess squishy, I guess.
More squishy?
See,
I can't do that, Dylan.
Not squishy to the point of, like, slightly less than, like, squishy. Not hard, but, noodly,
Okay, we'll move on to the meat. Okay, so let's talk about steak here.
I don't eat steak.
What did I mean by that question?
I don't know.
Let me pull another one. Is that okay?
No, we'll continue this. It's okay. Hamburger, I like it like maybe well done or a little below well done. So,
I remember what we were going with this. I remember grilled.
Yeah.
Baked.
Okay, yeah.
Or pan fried, I guess. So how do you like your food cooked?
See, the problem with that is it really depends. It depends on the food. Like, obviously, like, okay, like with hamburger, I prefer it being like, on the like frying pan. Or
microwaved. I'm just kidding.
Some people do that, But I like that best on that. I mean, it can be good on the grill too. On the grill. I don't know. How about you?
I actually like things more on the grill. Now, charcoal grill.
Mm-hmm.
I love that charcoal taste.
The grill can be really good. Have you eaten at Applebee's?
I've eaten there, but I've not gotten anything grilled.
Oh yeah, because they have a wood burning grill or something like that.
Oh wow,
charcoal wood burning grill that they cook your stuff on, and
I didn't know that.
It's pretty good.
What do you get from Applebee's that you have charcoal cooked stuff?
Well, I mean, it's just what they cook on. I mean, I get a cheeseburger. I mean,
oh okay,
it's not complicated, but
wait, me guessing?
No.
Oh, I thought you were calling me simple-minded.
No, but
I got you.
But I mean, so you like the charcoal grill?
Oh yeah, so grill, and then next I would have to do baked, and then probably last, honestly, would be like anything on the stove.
I mean, it depends what you're cooking, because
I pretty much like anything you can grill.
Because
like
obviously, like. On a frying pan, a grilled cheese is going to turn out way better than trying to bake a grilled cheese sandwich.
True.
I mean, but I've
never tried a grilled cheese sandwich, though. I should probably try that.
I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing.
If
but
that's even a thing.
Really depends, but this was so weird. But we'll we'll stop it there and go to and pull another topic since this one was weird.
Are you sure, Dylan?
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to this. Sorry, guys. Hopefully that was at least partly interesting. I don't know.
How do you like your noodles cooked? Noodles.
I eat them raw.
Like potato chips.
But potato chips are baked.
All right, I got 36.
I don't know. Okay, 36. Weird.
Okay, your favorite book.
Oh,
What's your favorite
dear
book,
God. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't read nowadays, but there was only one book series that I ever got interested in, and it was when I was in 7th grade. I haven't gotten to really any other books, but I gotta try to remember the title. It was a series of books, but the first one was called The Ghost in the Tokaido Inn or something like that. It was a Japanese book, of course.
Actually, you know what? One of our English teachers
It was
had that.
Yes.
I read a little bit of
Mr.
that.
Lowe.
I remember the cover.
You remember Mr. Lowe? Yeah. He forced us a lot of times to read near the end of class for a certain amount of time.
It was horrible.
And if you didn't have a book, you'd have to take something off of a shelf. And I found it, and I actually started reading it. In there, I hated reading, and I started becoming interested in it. So I actually went to our actual library and, rented it out or whatever, and actually read it. In this book series, it's basically this kid. I don't exactly remember all the details, but he was a tea merchant. His family was a tea merchant. And he was with them, and a thing happened in this inn. Some crime type stuff, and then you have these judges and samurai and stuff, and through the whole thing, he eventually gets adopted by the samurai to help solve cases and stuff and to do different things. I don't remember exactly, but it had a series of books, and I really liked them. So that's probably the only books I've actually read and were interested in. But that's me. What about you?
Besides the many books of the Bible, that aside, I would have to agree with you when it comes to I've not read many books, not finished many books in my life.
Right.
There's actually only one book I've read all the way through. Now, you remember those RC quizzes we had to take at school?
Dude, actually, you want to know something?
I guessed on every one of those, and that's how I passed. If I failed one, I just typed in a title of a different book and tried that.
Dude, you want to know what we did? What I did? We got to take ours in the the remedial room. In this remedial room, I don't know if you know where it is, but
no, I don't remember that.
What is it? How do I explain
Probably the one place I haven't been.
How do I explain where it's at? Do you remember Lexi?
Yes.
Do you know who her mom is?
No.
Her mom was in that room. Well, it's where, oh God, Jared, why?
All right, I turned it off. Go ahead.
But basically, we got to go in that room because we needed help because we were idiots.
Now, was
students.
it the room in the library that was the back room?
Nope, no, it's not in the library. It's in the high school side.
Okay.
If I had to explain it, I don't know what room. Do you know where the home ec room is?
Yes.
I think that's the home ec room where I'm thinking about. Across from there.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
And it was just if you needed extra help because you're not very smart, that's where we ended up going a lot. And me and my friend, one thing we would do is he would help me, quote unquote, because of my bad sight. Because you know how the computers were. It was basically the computers were deep in the desk.
Yeah, I remember.
And I actually had trouble reading it. So I would have my friend Tyler. I would take a quiz on a book he already read, and because he was helping me answer the questions, I would get hundreds. And also, we would do quizzes on books on fire trucks. Stuff and like simple books that you wouldn't need to read to be able to answer the questions on, basically. And so that was great.
That's pretty funny.
It was hilarious. But you didn't actually answer if you had a book.
I know. I was going to it's called The Heart of a Champion, and it's about baseball.
Oh, baseball.
And the story, oh, goodness,
Don't remember.
No, I remember bits and pieces. What I do remember is a story of a kid. Somehow he gets into baseball. I can't remember why, and so
He gets on a baseball?
or he joins a baseball team, and he's
My
like,
dream, Papa, is to be on a baseball.
he's like really bad at it, and then
Right.
he just keeps trying and trying and trying. And he gets
You
good
really
at
like
it.
those motivational stories, don't you?
Oh, I'm telling you, man. And so then I think he goes to college, or maybe he's still in high school. Anyway, so his baseball coach outruns him every time. You know what I mean? And oh, come on, pick up the pace, kind of stuff. And then later on in the book, he's outrunning his baseball coach, and he, oh, good times. I'll pick up the pace. Getting on his and then he's like really good at baseball.
Yeah.
That's all I remember. But it was the only book I passed, with flying colors.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm not even into baseball.
No, I
got hooked on it for some reason.
have no interest in baseball, but that's cool.
Sorry, there's not much. For a guy who doesn't read books, it's a good book for somehow.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was for me. And like I said, I didn't remember as much as I wish I would have. But again, the book I read was in 7th grade. We're talking, I was like 13, and like next month, I'm going to be 24. So yeah, we're talking about 10 years, a decade.
Yeah.
So of course I don't remember that much, but
Probably about 8 or 9 years for me with that certain book.
right. But with that has been the blind hat pull. So
On to
now
the next.
next is the blindsided question. And with that, you can send us, any questions or concerns or whatever you want to send us in our email, tbspp, lowercase, @yahoo.com. And if you want to ask blind or sighted questions, you can do so on YouTube because that's easier. But without further ado, Jared, what is today's blind question?
All right, Dylan. Today's blind question revolves around editing. I will, for the videos that I edit those, but
Right.
I can see. How do you edit the podcast when you do?
Okay, so how this works is I do edit the podcast, and how I do this is kind of how I explained how I text and use my phone. Basically, my computer has a screen reader to where I do everything with shortcuts, the keyboard. I move around with the keyboard, and it's very difficult to find compatible editing softwares and stuff with like my screen reader, but one that I did find was the audio program Audacity, which is a free program. I'm sure everyone knows about Audacity. I've used Audacity even before I went blind. That's why I knew it was such a good choice, because I already knew the interface. So I just had to figure out all the shortcuts to make it work. And basically, that's kind of how I use it. I use a bunch of keyboard shortcuts. I just go through, add my effects, cut off the ends of the video, add our podcast intro, and I basically do that. And then with our videos now, I ship them off. I actually also upload the podcast episodes on our podcast sites, like all the Spotify, iTunes, all those. I upload them there, but in this new case, I actually send the files to Jared, and now he edits them into a video and puts them on YouTube.
Okay, so tell me about the bleep sound, Dylan. How did you do all that?
Okay, I'll
go ahead and explain step by step how you developed your own sound and found a way to put it into the podcast.
Okay, well, Jared, as you know, we try not to curse on this show to keep it clean for everyone and just to keep it better. But in all honesty, me and Jared do curse outside of the podcast. So we do slip up from time to time, and Jared happened to slip up the worst. So to save the podcast, I had to create a bleep sound to edit over it. So I basically came in and I can record and do stuff, like I said, how I explained how I edit the podcast. I record the same way. I use Audacity and shortcuts and stuff. So I just kind of recorded it, and I think it took me 2 or 3 takes to get one that I was happy with. And
a happy bleep.
and it was just kind of like, caca. Like, I'm not gonna do it fully because I don't feel like it, but it it was just for a bleep noise. Now, why I also have to do that, and why people are like, well, why don't you maybe make episodes where you can curse? And the problem with that is, I would love that, right? And just let people be aware of it. The problem why we can't curse at all in these podcast episodes is because...
We care about our audience.
No, that's not it. Because
we don't care about our audience, Dylan?
we care about our audience. You know what I mean. But because with iTunes, if you have a single episode that is deemed unclean, it turns our whole show dirty. Which in my opinion is stupid, because I would like to have a special episode where we're just free about it and we don't have to hold back. But since it'll turn our whole podcast into a dirty podcast and not show to everyone, we can't do any at all. Now, this might change on YouTube because YouTube isn't exactly like that. Our whole channel won't be deemed bad just because we curse, but that's just one thing. But
man, you have a whole plan behind this cursing, Dylan. You have a lot of stress to release.
No, I'm just saying if we wanted the most casual of casual episodes, but for the most part, we're not going to curse, basically. But yeah, Jared edits videos. Basically, he edits the videos now, podcast and the channel videos, and yeah, that pretty much answers that question.
All right, that was the question.
So. Alrighty, so. With that has been the Blindsided Perspective Podcast.
Episode 14.
I've been Dylan.
And I've been Jared.
Thank you all so much for listening. We will see you in the next episode.
We love you.